You know what? I cannot defend this lady because she does such a brilliant job all by herself. And I'm going to apologize if I sounded like I had that selective hearing. I did not intend to say that I am anti-feminist. When I said I'd applaud feminism almost, it was that slight little issue that I had with the idea of the segregation, and it's for a particular reason. Thanks for your response, by the way, Divinity 33372. That was a really grand response. I really enjoyed that, and you pointed out some fair points in regards to what I had said. A funny thing about feminism, it's polar opposite, and a lot of times I look at it this way because a lot of the way we learn, the way we think, is very dualistic. Usually we like to take things in contrasts and comparisons and say that we have one thing. Oh, how do we see this except in terms of an opposite? So we have the polarized view of it, and we can look at both sides. This is when I say this, I mean the opposite of that. That's one of the ways we learn. I know there's ranges in between. I understand that. Feminism, masculinism. One of the things that tends to be a little bit difficult with this is I see it as a social convention in a lot of respects. Remember we were talking a bit about breeding, dog breeding, and they tend to develop a certain kind of personality according to the desired personality by the breeder. They'll select one. I like this, I'm going to get them together and promulgate that quality. I think a lot of our society has gone that way. It's promulgated this sort of masculine, feminine sort of approach. The ideal man is masculine, tough, strong, do everything. The feminine, the woman, is so soft and gentle. Stereotypes, social stereotypes. What about the in-betweens? What about what they'd call the tomboy, or the man who has feminine qualities? Someone who's a little bit softer. You have all these ranges in here, and a lot of them are shunned by society, and it's one of the reasons why we have this kind of masculine, feminine thing. At one time there's wars and all kinds of... Okay, I know there's a lot of people that jump on the bandwagon with the, what do they call that, the patriarchal society and what it promulgates. A lot of people take this and put it into a kind of a statement of conspiratorial approach or effect or attack. There's always somebody trying to set all this stuff up, and somebody tries to set up this is the enemy. Let's attack. We gotta do this. I don't think it works that way. I think it's simply systematic. We tend to do it. It's like somebody had mentioned in another video, Dowd, I can't remember the number, suffix to it, but he was talking about the way that religion seems to have infiltrated our political structure, in the sense that it has been able to instill our sense of monogamy, one man, one woman, but this is something that's very, religiously based, that a man and a woman are supposed to be paired, whereas there are some religions in the Middle East that would have one man and several women, and then there may even be some that exist that that have one woman and many men, or many women and many men, which sounds more tantamount to an orgy. I have a difficult enough time with it. I'm not going to go into that stuff, but anyways. Again, my difficulty with feminism tends not to be anti-feminist. I can understand the desire to build a support group. I can understand the need, indeed, to build a support group. My biggest difficulty is with the tendency for it to isolate, to segregate, and to make it very difficult a lot of times for us to work together. I was remembering what you had said about not understanding what the masculine or the male side of the story is with oh, excuse me, abuse and male abuse, male child abuse as opposed to female child abuse. You said that children are raised from birth. The females are treated differently from the males, and I have to say sometimes they're not always treated the same. And the way they're treated does have a bearing on how they're going to come out. Partially. Another part is going to be how they interpret how they're treated. Because my own personal experience with being abused as a child, part of it was from the parents. But I just saw an interesting video by Warner, another great YouTuber. If you haven't seen him yet, it'd be a good idea. I feature a video of his on there which relates to this. I pointed out that there can be, it's possible to look upon it more as poor parenting than abuse. And I know what you're talking about in terms of the intelligent abuse, and it can be so sly. It's like, but sometimes I wonder if the parent necessarily always knows that they're doing this. Ethics, it can be so difficult sometimes.